It's not just about the manipulative itself, but it's about the concepts that you're building with those manipulatives. So you really want to talk to the kids about those manipulatives and what they're doing with them. Have some idea of intentionality. So there's tasks that you give to the kids sometimes, and then there's other times where you've given them some grounding in it, and you give them to kids as just to free explore. Then you go over and you see, what are those kids doing with that? What question could I answer? How could I change the manipulative a little bit to answer those kids' need? Other centers in the room certainly have manipulatives for the same kind of purpose. If you have a store in your dramatic play center or something like that, have the kids be selling each other. If they're just got some objects, some play objects that they're selling, and then the other people have some play money, great, then they can exchange. You know, this is $5, give me $5, and they're making that up. Remember that the research on this shows that it's not necessarily a good idea if you're selling food items or something like that, if you're a supermarket or the like, to have all these cute little pre-made cans and packages, and then nice looking dollar bills, looks almost like the real thing. Why? Kids learn more about mathematics, about self-regulation, and learn more creative skills if they're really given very raw materials and they turn that into the things they want. So if they have to go to the building blocks and find which of these is going to make a can of soup, well, I'm going to get this. This looks like a can. Yeah, that's a cylinder. That's just like a can of soup. That's great. How about a cereal box? Well, none of these blocks looks like that. What could you do to make a shape that's about like a cereal box? I'm going to tape two of these blocks together, and then that's going to make a nice, good. So they're learning much more creative skills that way, and they're going to do the same socio-dramatic kind of play that they would have done, but it'll be enriched by their own creation. Money the same way. Let them figure out what the money's going to be, how they're going to make money out of raw materials. When kids reprocess raw materials in different ways to support different dramatic play, they're learning a lot about those materials, a lot about science, a lot about math, and a lot about language that they wouldn't if we provide too many pre-built toys.
All of our dramatic play centers have some component of math. So right now it's money, but we make sure that there's always some math incorporated into everything we do. Over at the technology center right now, for example, there'll be measuring tapes, and we'll ask them to put some things together, and they'll take their measuring tape out and they'll measure, and they'll, and that's a dialogue. That's a part of the program that I love, is that I'll go over and say, well, how long is that board? And they'll know to go get their measuring tape and measure it, and they'll be able to tell me, oh, it's 12 long or 12 wide. So they're always adding at different centers how many they need to build something. I'll say, well, if you've got 4 big blocks and you're adding 6 more big blocks, how many big blocks do you have? And they'll be able to tell me that. So these are not necessarily things that are even set up. It's just out of dialogue, out of discussion of what's happening at the centers, you can just incorporate math in the sand all the time. So if this container is this size and this container is half that size, how many times do you think you'll be able to fill that? Or how many scoops will fit into this container? So it's a constant prediction, estimating, and it's available at every center, including the art table. How much glue do you think you need to have to make something stick?
Pizza. And a salad.
Wow. And how is your juice? Is it really delicious? Do you make it yourself?
Here comes our bill.
Oh, let me see.
Oh,
I'll take the bill. It's my turn to pay. Oh, should we leave a tip, do you think?
Yes.
I wonder how much of a tip we should leave. Let's see. The bill was 45 cents. How much tip do you think we should give you?
About $2.
$2. I think that's a good tip. The pizza was very good.
So this is an example of one of the transformations that happened in our classroom. When we first began here at Bond Lake, this was always our math area. However, it was very brightly colored. The posters that we had on the wall had numbers on them. They had the shapes created. Students didn't really look at them or use them very much. We decided to neutralize the space. We put some of the materials in transparent jars so that they could see what was inside. We also had wicker baskets that reminded them of home. It was very accessible for them. At that time, we had a large table. As beautiful as we thought the space was, and as inviting as it was for math, the children weren't really coming to this space. And that provided attention for us as a team for the reason that we were very puzzled as to why they weren't coming when we've made all of the changes that we've been reading about. So I guess it's about really knowing your students and understanding that you can make certain invitations for learning and they may not provoke their interest. And so what Julie and I thought of was, what if we remove the table and put a carpet? And then you can share what happened.
And so, as Joanne said, when we had the table, there was just a limited amount of children that were coming, and even the way they were using the materials, I guess they felt confined. But as we took the table away, there were just more children coming to the math area. They're more engaged. They had more space to really explore with the math materials.
Yeah, they were able to manipulate the manipulatives by lying down and just really getting their hands in there and spreading out onto the carpet. And I guess what we learned from this experience is that certain spaces in the classroom work better or are more suitable for a carpet, while other areas like an inquiry space might be a space with a table.